What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're having a good week as always. And hopefully the sound is good. You guys can hear me good. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, and then we're gonna get going. What's going on, guys? I'm live on Facebook now, and I'm live on YouTube. Yep, sounds good. We're gonna talk about impeachment scam and Roger Stone. I almost got people confused. I guess he got charged today. But I want to take it back. We'll talk about what's going on. The hearings are pretty ridiculous. I don't know what the media is saying. I don't even own a TV, but I watched the one Democrat say basically, he said basically, secondhand evidence is better. Hearsay is better than actual evidence. Like, evidence isn't really important. It's like more about hearsay. There's a lot of like my friend of a friend of a friend. They brought back some old Ukrainian ambassador woman who worked under Bush and Obama. It's like if we wanted to hear what Bush and Obama said, we would have voted for Hillary Clinton. People voted for Donald Trump. So we don't really care what, Colin Powell and, Ibrahimovic has to say. The only Ibrahimovic I care about is the one who plays for the LA Galaxy. Jokes aside, we'll talk about it all. I want to start at Russia collusion, then go to this one and try to break it down because a lot of people don't know if you watch media how Russia collusion started and how this one started. And if you really get outside the mind of like the speechwriters of Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon, you'll realize how ridiculously insane all this stuff is. But we'll chat about it. Let's see who we got. We'll do some shout outs. We got Charles Juan. We got James. We got Bonita. That's a pretty name. Literally, it translates to pretty in Spanish. We got Billy. We got Craig. We got Starla. God bless you guys. Thank you for joining. I'm going to rack the coffee real quick. Eddie Fannin, thank you for being here, and thank you for being the top fan. We got 2 Mops 420, getting the house bear. He said Rogan's up. That's correct. Throw him up to the sky. Hank Hill. We got Alicia Castillo. We got Sean A. Witten. We got Thomas from Oregon. Appreciate you. We're up to 1,000 on Facebook. We got 152 on YouTube. Eventually, I'll try to figure out how to stream on both things at once. But now I got my phone and my YouTube. It's been working all right. If you guys like it, I don't mind. We got Kyle. We got Dan. Michael Mitchell, Jennifer Cox in the house. We got Salaja Solrak. God bless you. One love. That's correct. Lucy Walker. We got Gucci Mama. Big swag in the house. We got Akin Ogunro. Akin from Austin. Appreciate you. Aaron said Bob Ross. We got Caroline Hugs from AZ. Appreciated. Lancaster County in the house. Someone said the only real news around. It's very sad when I become the only real news around. It shouldn't be like this. Cheers. Alaska coffee. It's a decaf. I got a water just in case I get thirsty. All right, let's start it up. Thank you, guys. Mark, thank you for being here. Jason, appreciate you. We got Claudine. Thank you for being a supporter, Claudine. Belinda said I'm Bonita too. That's what my name means. Did I read it wrong or is there a Bonita and a Belinda? Anyway, we got a packed house here. I want to start it before we even talk about the Ukraine collusion. I have a video I'm working on. It's going to be funny. It's called Imagine If Trump Did That. And I'm going to have all the stuff they did and be like, imagine if Trump did that. But the first, scandal was the Russia collusion way before this Ukraine stuff, just to break it down into perspective for people. It's so confusing, so much media stuff, so much hype. Russia collusion was started by, we'll go way back to the beginning. There was something called a Steele dossier. It was Christopher Steele, who's a former British spy, colluded with what we then found out was Hillary Clinton and the Democrats. They gave this dossier to the FISA courts to justify spying on Trump's, campaign. So if you go right to the very beginning, before Russia collusion was a thing, in order to try to pretend like Russia or Trump colluded with Russia, the Democrats had to work with a foreign spy from Great Britain in order to make something to cast the illusion that it might possibly be happening. So outside of everybody's, preconceived bias and you like Trump, you hate Trump, whatever, they worked with a British spy to create a dossier to give to the American FISA courts. Imagine if Trump did that. Imagine if Trump went and worked with a British spy. It would be foreign collusion. Oh my God, Trump's working with Great Britain. That's what they did. They colluded with a foreign spy to make a package to give to the FISA courts that they didn't tell the FISA court. They acted like Adam Schiff is acting now. They're like, we just found this great big ball of evidence. They didn't just find it. They worked with a foreign spy to create a nonsensical dossier to present as if they just found it, to launch a whole, spying of President Trump's administration. And the people who went to jail, Manafort and such beforehand, it had nothing to do with Russia collusion. It's like things they did 8-9 years ago. I'm not here to defend them. Politics is an ugly game. Law, being a lawyer, is an ugly game. God bless all my good patriots involved in those things. But I'm not justifying what they did or didn't do, but it had nothing to do with Russia collusion. So they colluded with a foreign spy to create a dossier, to lie or basically mislead the FISA courts into thinking it's authentic, launched a 2-year investigation. We had to hear Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, the harpies at The View. Close your ears. They'll destroy your soul on contact. It's like 7 women. It's like, yikes. All of these news networks, Rachel Maddow, they were all saying 1,000 million times. They even got rappers to say it. They got Kendrick Lamar to drop a line, Russia. And I love Kendrick Lamar. He's one of my favorite rappers. He dropped a Russia line, won a Pulitzer Prize. Washington Post is winning Pulitzer. They're patting themselves on the back for all the Russia. They said it 100 million billion times, and it never happened. All we found out is they colluded with a foreign spy and lied to spy on American citizens who worked with Trump, to basically send the message: if you work with President Trump, we'll dig up all the dirt we can find on you, try to ruin your life. They're trying to scare people away from working for President Trump. And also, they're trying to get him out of office because they can't beat him. So the Russia collusion, we had 2 years of it. Every single day they talked about it. You don't hear a single word about it anymore because it never was real to begin with. They did everything that they accused Trump of doing. And you could Google Uranium One, Hillary Clinton, New York Times. Even the New York Times published an article years ago saying Hillary Clinton got hundreds of millions of dollars to her foundation when the United States approved a deal to sell uranium to Russia. So if Russia's a big bad enemy, why was Hillary Clinton not just her, it's the whole government. Why do we give them the uranium if they're so terrible? So that's all gone. Now we have the Ukraine collusion. And of course, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, Jimmy Fallon, the harpies at The View, the Medusa women at The View. Don't look them in the eyes. You'll turn to stone. Certainly don't look Adam Schiff in the eyes. Imagine looking at Adam Schiff and thinking, that's a really trustworthy guy. People look at him in the eyes. Oh, Adam Schiff. Yeah, dude. I mean, one look at him in the eyes and, we got a real good democracy on our hands. It's going to take Adam Schiff to save our democracy. I mean, come on. If you believe that dude's eyes, you deserve to get lied to. I mean, he looks like he's got to take a shit. And if he does, that's fine. It's relatable. Everyone does it. We're all Americans. But it's like, dude, what's going on? Anyway, the Ukraine collusion scandal, the entire thing outside of the framing of the media, if you look at how it happened, there's a whistleblower. Now, first of all, they're lying. It's very frustrating. They're changing words in the dictionary. I mean, there's 10 million genders now. Okay, biologically born men can compete with women in sports. Okay, if you want to get beaten the crap out of by a guy that's way stronger than you're ever physically allowed to be, that's your prerogative. I don't care. Get your shit kicked in by some dude who's 300 pounds. I mean, they're already making fun of it on South Park. So they're changing scientific definitions. They're changing, what words mean. And they move forward with this Ukrainian stuff. And they're doing the same exact thing here. So the word whistleblower is supposed to mean you blew the whistle on corruption. Like if you're working at a power plant and they're like murdering babies, behind closed doors, you're a whistleblower. You're like, guys, it's corrupt. Edward Snowden essentially was a whistleblower. Julian Assange, not so much. He's more a publisher, but you get what I'm saying. Whistleblower, you blow the whistle on corruption. You have to know what the fuck you're talking about, excuse my language, to be a whistleblower. You have to have firsthand information. Like you can't be a rumor like, oh man, I think someone said that the company might be corrupt and I heard this guy say it, so I'm going to say it. That's not a whistleblower. So this guy's not even really a whistleblower if he has secondhand information. There's no such thing. So they got somebody on the inside who now You're talking about collusion. You got Facebook and YouTube. You can't even say the guy's name. Don't say it. It's not worth it. It doesn't matter. Everyone, it doesn't matter. You can't even say his name. They'll kick you off the network or delete your video. He tells somebody, Adam Schiff has lied 15 times. He didn't tell me. He told me, I know who it is. I don't know who it is. I've never met him. I've never talked to him. Dude, they're such snakes. It's ridiculous. But he tells them that President Trump did something with Ukraine. So then Adam Schiff goes in front of Congress, literally makes up a whole fake story saying, Trump said, do it now, or I'll pressure you. You must do it. But he made like a whole literally like story, like he's like a screenwriter. He made up a whole fake plot. Trump released the transcript, and then he had to admit in front of Congress that he was making up a parody. The point is, he never thought he'd get caught. He thought he'd be able to lie with an insider and make up a story and no one would be able to prove him wrong. That's what they usually do. But he did get proven wrong, but people are so stupid they don't even realize that he lied in front of Congress. The same thing they're accusing Roger Stone of doing. He said, no, I didn't lie. I'm a parody. Is that what they do in Congress when they make laws? Do they just make skits and be like, well, since I'm a congressman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is actually a lizard woman coming to, deport Asians. So we got to pass this law. And then you get caught and you're like, no, I didn't really mean that. I was just making up a parody. You're there to do a job. You're not there to be a screenwriter and make up parodies. So he's full of Schiff, as people are saying. So the guy's not even a whistleblower. So now they have a whole fake impeachment scheme based off of what one insider said with second or third hand knowledge. And he won't even go in front of Congress because they're trying to keep him anonymous, even though everyone knows who it is. This doesn't make any sense. If you're a whistleblower, you got to tell people what you know. I mean, where's Edward Snowden's a whistleblower? If they were doing a whole ABC impeachment thing, the person who released the Epstein tape would have to come forward and say something about it. I mean, the guy, no one even knows what he's talking about. And everybody in front of Congress, they're like, well, I heard from someone else that someone might have said something. It's so embarrassing. It's ridiculous. So the person who has the insider information won't even go to this whole impeachment thing. It makes literally no sense. It's even dumber than the Russia collusion. At least with the Russia collusion, they bought themselves 2 years to investigate to try to find something. But now they have nothing. They got exposed for lying. They said it was a parody. And people are so brainwashed by Jimmy Kimmel that they're still just moving forward on the impeachment. And if you watch the hearings, it's ridiculous. So Trump said it was ridiculous because it is ridiculous. And then they're trying to say that he's obstructing justice or like, oh my God, he's tampering with a witness. No, we're saying the people that are full of shit are full of shit. So you're allowed to lie. You're allowed to do everything that Roger Stone did times 50. And I'm not here defending Roger Stone. Honestly, like he's been in politics for 30, 40 years lobbying. I watched his documentary. Honestly, it seemed like he took pride in being like a sneaky guy. I don't know what he did or didn't do. I wasn't in court. But if it's lying in front of Congress, which is a crime, who didn't do that? Between Brennan, Clapper, McCabe, Schiff, Hillary Clinton, she got caught literally lying about the emails, and then they changed it from like this wording to this wording. Peter Strzok, they all lied. So is everybody going to go to jail? If that's the case, then that's fine. But if it's like only if you're Roger Stone, you go to jail. But if you're Peter Strzok, you're fine. It's ridiculous. And they're changing the words of what quid pro quo even means. Quid pro, here, we'll do a little dive real quick. Quid, just so I don't mess it up. Quid pro quo, a favor or advantage granted or expected in return of something. So the pardon was a quid pro quo for their help in releasing hostages. That's the sentence that they give you on Google. So literally every business deal ever is technically a quid pro quo. Like Trump says, hey, North Korea, if you stop threatening to bomb us, we'll give us our hostages back and we'll not kill you or something. Or like, we'll not put sanctions on you if you give our hostage. That's quid pro quo. Every business deal is a quid pro quo. You don't just sign a record label. Hey, let me give 100% of my rights to Universal and then I'll get nothing in return. Yeah, I'll just give you my whole life and I'll just be a slave for you. I mean, that's kind of what musicians do. They do get a lot of money though. I'll just be your slave forever. No, it's a quid pro quo. You give me $1 million in advance. I'll make goofy music that you bump at the clubs. That's every business deal ever. So they've lied about what the word quid pro quo means. What they're trying to tell people is you're not supposed, a quid pro quo is literally a deal. China will take tariffs off you if you give us a better trade deal. That's quid pro quo. Mexico will give you foreign aid if you stop sending so many illegal immigrants here. Quid pro quo. Everything's a quid pro quo. So that doesn't even make sense. What they're trying to say is you're not supposed to sell your country out for a foreign country. You're not supposed to sell your country out for your own personal benefit, which is literally what Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton most likely did for decades. And a lot of politicians, why do they pass certain deals when it comes to the pharmacy industry? They're all getting money from the pharmacy industry. Why do people have certain foreign policy? They're getting money from the military industrial complex. Those are the type of quid pro quos that you should take an eye on and be like, I don't agree with that quid pro quo. It seems like you're just enriching yourself to get our soldiers killed and Christians killed in the Middle East. Seems like you're just, sucking up pharmacy money as people are suffering the consequences. That's a bad quid pro quo. But the word quid pro quo doesn't mean anything. But Joe Biden did what they're accusing Trump of doing. He did a quid pro quo on air, but it was like a personal one. His son's on the advisory board. He's on TV saying, yeah, I would have never got that job if I wasn't Joe Biden's son, obviously, which is fine. I get it. You're using your dad's wealth, but are you using the wealth for your own personal interest, or are they putting you on the board so they can then manipulate the United States through you? I don't know the answer to that, but that's a quid pro quo to look into. Is he selling out our country to Ukraine through his son, or is his son just enriching himself? If his son's just making money, honestly, I don't even care. Like, I get it. Daddy's got a big job. Make that money. I'm not even mad at Hunter Biden, For his own sake, he should probably stop smoking crack or whatever he's doing, and that's just as a friend. I don't know the guy if he really did that, but it's like, word on the street is he has a crack problem. If that's the case, relax with the yayo, buddy. You got something on your nose in the ABC interview. No, I'm just kidding. But overall, you get what I'm saying. It's more about selling the country out. So nothing about this makes sense to begin with. You have Democrat, what's his name? Quigley. It's funny how all their names match who they are. Quigley. Ooh, Quigley. Ooh. It sounds like Schiff. Full of Schiff. They all have like very poetic names. Trump. Anyway. The dude's like, let me find the quote. It's so ridiculous. I'm just gonna play it so everybody can hear it. Let's see. Quigley. This guy's a real winner for the Democrats. Let's hear what he says. Let's hear.
Evidence.
Let's hear. Quigley.
Hearsay can be much better evidence than direct, as we hearsay. Hearsay can be much better evidence than direct, as we hearsay.
Yeah, hearsay could be much better than direct evidence. I mean, you have to literally be brain dead to believe that. You're like, well, I didn't think hearsay was better than direct evidence, but once Jimmy Kimmel said it, Jimmy Fallon said it, Seth Meyers said it, all the harpies on The View said it until my ears started bleeding, and Joey Behar, said it. I just believe it now. Yeah, that makes total sense. I thought, let's just go to court. Be like, dude, do you have proof that this happened? I don't have proof, but I have hearsay. I mean, someone said it happened. They're like, gavel. That's it. Well, he's got hearsay. Let's wrap the case up, guys. Somebody said something. I mean, these people are you got to be retarded to believe that. I'm sorry. Just for fun, for my own personal fun, let's look at Whoopi Goldberg. I was reading her. I love Whoopi, by the way. Whoopi Goldberg, I was just cracking up reading her Wikipedia. Hopefully you guys don't mind. Her Karen Elaine Johnson. So I was like, why is her name Whoopi Goldberg? I was like, is Whoopi Goldberg Jewish? Because the name Goldberg sounds kind of Jewish. But I was reading her Wikipedia and it's hilarious. Hold on. Let me see. Here it is. Ready? It's Whoopi Goldberg. Sorry if it's getting loud. It's my fan. I gotta just move this over a little bit. All right, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna just turn this. All right. So Whoopi Goldberg. It says regarding her stage surname, she said in 2011 My mother did not name me Whoopi, but Goldberg is my name. It's part of my family, part of my heritage, just like being black. And you just know I'm Jewish. I practice nothing. I don't go to temple, but I do it for the holidays. I do remember the holidays. She has stated that people would say, come on, are you Jewish? And I would always say, would you ask me that if I was white? I bet not. So now she's using her black identity to mask the fact that she's not really Jewish, but pretending to be Jewish, probably to get a leg up in Hollywood. Anyway, she said one account recalls her mother, Emma Johnson, thought it was a family's original surname was not Jewish enough for her daughter to become a star. So she changed her name to Goldberg to become a star, apparently. Researcher Henry Louis Gates Jr. found that all of Goldberg's traceable ancestors were African Americans, that she has no German or Jewish ancestry. You don't say. And none of her ancestors were named Goldberg. Results of the DNA test revealed in 2006 PBS documentary African American Lives traced part of her ancestry to Papel and Bayot, people of modern-day Guinea-Bissau. Her admixture test indicates that she is 92% sub-Saharan African and 8% of European origin. You don't say. So I just thought that was hilarious. I was doing research because I was like, Goldberg, is that really her last name? And she was like, what? You're going to say I'm not Jewish because I'm black? And you're like, what? And then she did a DNA test on TV and found out she wasn't Jewish. Anyway, it's just hilarious. And I'm just saying, this whole impeachment theory has me just feeling really loose. You know, you're like, Anomaly, you're cursing a little bit. I might just go transracial on the game. You know, I might just be like, you know, it was fun being mostly European and part Puerto Rican, but I think I might swing for the fences and be half Jewish, half black. And that's a scary sight. It's kind of what Drake is, you know, Ebro from Ebro in the Morning, Hot 97, you know, half black, half Jewish, I believe. So it's a good combo. Rachel Dolezal is an inspiration. Whoopi Goldberg's an inspiration. If they can, you know, change races, then I can too. And, you know, Adam Schiff's an inspiration too. I always thought, you know, wouldn't it be great to be in Congress and tell the truth and not make up parodies? But then he goes there and he's like combining two of my dreams at once. It's like I could be in Congress, but I could also be a screenwriter. It's very exciting. It's very exciting times. It's like I don't even have to tell the truth if I'm being Congress. I could literally just make up a plot and people will believe me because Jimmy Kimmel said so. So it's really exciting. It's like I was always thinking both of those wouldn't really work well, but now I could just go up there and be like, well, rumor has it that you know, Nancy Pelosi has 5 legs and she ran all the way to Canada to collude with Canadian spies. And people are like, God damn it, that sounds and then I get caught lying and I don't even have to admit I lied. I could just be like, listen, it's a parody. Come on. The fact that you don't know it's a parody is just crazy. I mean, let's listen to Adam Schiff talk about it being a parody. I mean, come on. You can't tell that I'm just making shit up in front of public, but you know, I got Seth Meyers, Jimmy Kimmel, and the Harpies on The View to just agree with me. So it's like I don't even have to tell the truth. Let's see. Adam Schiff parody. Here you go. Come on.
Know the identity of the whistleblower? That's a false statement.
Dude, his eyes bug me out. I can't even, just looking at his eyes creep me out. Let's not even listen to it. I can't look at his eyes anymore. It's like looking in Medusa's eyes. You know, I tweeted a picture of Adam Schiff's eyes, but I deleted it, even though it was blowing up on Twitter. I was like, imagine looking into this guy's eyes and believing a single word he says. But then just the fact his eyes were on my Twitter, I just kept logging into Twitter and seeing his eyes. I just was like, you know, I don't even need the clout. I don't need the retweets right now. I got enough attention. I'll just delete this tweet. I don't want to log into Twitter and look into Medusa's eyes. I'll turn into a piece of Schiff overnight. So overall, someone said Roger Stone should have said it's a parody. It's just, I'm not even here because, like, I don't know what Roger Stone did or didn't do. Someone wanted me to join, like, a telethon for Roger Stone. I told him, I don't even know what the guy did. Why am I going to join a telethon? I don't know what he did or didn't do. He's been, Roger Stone has been Roger Stoning around for decades. I can't justify what he's done or hasn't done. But if him lying in front of court is a crime, then they're all criminals. They drain the whole swamp. I want to say this too, and then we'll do a question and answer because I don't really have much else to say. I'll answer some questions. But I said, we'll see what Attorney General Barr, this is the silver lining. Barr is doing this imminent investigation into all the sneaky stuff that I told you they just did with the foreign collusion, how they lied, how they colluded, how they're sneaking around with giant eyes that look like they're going to suck out the soul of the universe, if it even exists. But AG Barr needs to come up hot, because if you don't prove that these people are doing stuff bad, and I'm not someone that says, hey, they need to go to jail. If they did something wrong, I don't know what they did or didn't do. You got to show in court. AG Barr and Trump have to come up big and show the world what these people are doing. You get what I'm saying? And you can't be on some BS like they're on. You can't have some little stuff with Hillary. You need the big salami. You need the big sauce, or else this shift is never going to end. I said when Epstein disappeared, I don't even think he's dead. And then Katie Hill and all these Democrats, they're like, that's a conspiracy theory. Give me a break, please. It's a conspiracy theory that he's, that he actually killed himself. That's the conspiracy theory. The cameras turned off. If cameras turned off at a 7-Eleven and a crime happened, it's obvious that something sketchy went down, let alone the highest security prison. Oh, the guards were just sleeping and anybody who disagrees with the conspiracy. Shut up. You lost all rights to that word conspiracy theory. We all know you're lying. We all know you're sneaking around doing all sorts of stuff. Not you specifically, but in general. There's no conspiracy. It's a conspiracy to think that what they said happened actually happened. But point I'm trying to get to, kind of forgot where I was going. Oh, AG Barr needs to come up big. And when they let Epstein disappear, die, or go to an island somewhere, I said that's a big deal. Like, these people are really, really bad hombres. You know what I'm saying? They're doing really, really sick stuff. So if you let really, really sick people get away with being really, really sick, and you just let it slide like that, like they die or get killed or, run away somewhere, they're never going to stop. So it's like people are getting upset, especially Republicans are getting really upset. And they're like, when is this going to end? It's never going to end unless they do something about it. And in general, this is the future that they've kind of created now. They've lied so much about Trump. This is all going to backfire on them. They're desperate. The silver lining is also, if they ever win, now they have to reap what they've sowed. It's like Joy Behar. Oh, I wasn't wearing blackface. I was just a pretty African-American woman. We don't believe you, Harpy woman. It's blackface when someone else does it, but when you do it, you're just a beautiful African-American woman. Make up your damn mind. But when it comes to politics, it's no bueno. Everything they're doing to Trump, everything they're trying to do to Roger Stone, they want to do to the American people. They want to take away the First Amendment, your free speech. They want to tell you what you can and can't own. They want to do mandatory medical injections. This is my least favorite part, and then I'll really take questions. There's so much sick, disgusting stuff going on in our country that we're not even able to. Trump is the greatest thing that's ever happened to them. In a weird way, it almost seems like a setup. And I like Trump, but it's like no one's talking about anything that matters. All Trump people are defending Trump. All Democrats are just lying about him. No one's talking about medical freedom. Nobody's talking about medicine injections. Nobody's talking about a lot of sick practices in this country that have been around for decades that we think are status quo that aren't. I don't even want to get into it right now. That's a whole nother topic, but there's so much on the plate that we're not diving deep into. So the whole system's broken. Trump's the best thing that they can imagine because he's distracting both sides. Without Trump, there's going to be a real revolution in this country because they're trying to suck up all our free speech. They're trying to basically, subvert everything that makes us great. Meanwhile, right now, Trump is he's blocking a flow of a lot of stuff from happening. So Trump's the best thing that ever happens to him. If they get away with what they're trying to get away with, it's going to be bad, very bad karma, very bad karma. So, and I would love to have real conversations again, but are people even do these people really not know what they're doing? It's hard to really imagine, but let's see. Someone said, did you move or change your setup? So neither. The air in California was so bad, I just left. It was toxic, China, communist China air, and everyone's breathing it in. So I was like, I'm dipping out. Also, I have a show tonight as well, but I'm I'm going to move though. I think I'm going to move within the next month or two, but I'm just avoiding the toxic air of California while they're like, oh, let's impeach Trump. It's like, shut up, Jimmy Kimmel. We're tired of your crap. Why don't you clean the disgusting streets right outside your Freemason temple, big guy? Why don't you clean the disgusting the disgusting streets of Los Angeles. They're getting disgusting. No one wants to hear you talk about President Trump and impeachment. Your city has toxic Chinese air and, disgusting streets. So get outside your high horse, take a step outside your Freemason temple, and you'll figure out that the entire, city needs your help. So maybe Ellen and Jimmy can focus on that instead of impeachment. So someone said, hi from Istanbul and Turkey. Hey, God bless my Turkish followers. Speaking of which, Cenk Uyghur's running for Congress. I think against Mike Cernovich. That should be interesting. But if Cenk Uyghur wins, he'll be the first member of Congress to have a news network named after the Armenian genocide. That's exciting. Someone said, "Oh, Jimmy went to Brooklyn." Then what's going on with this Freemason temple on the boulevard? Is that just chilling there now? It still has his stuff on it. I'm not even lying. Look up Jimmy Kimmel's studio in Los Angeles. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's literally a Freemason temple. On the top, it says, Freemasonry builds its temples among the nations and in the hearts of men or something. It's literally right on the thing. I'm not even making this up. People are like, oh, that's a conspiracy. No, look at his studio. It's literally a Freemason temple, which is fine. I'm just saying, get with your friends and clean the streets of Los Angeles. Amir Odom said, appreciate all the work you do. Thank you, brother. John said, love from Arkansas, bro. Arkansas, nice place to move. Thank you. Destiny said, love your humor. Yeah, we got to have fun. Thank you. Someone said that, yeah, no, they're so full of shift, not the other word. Let's see. All right, we'll answer some questions now, and then we'll kick it for like a half hour. What we got? Someone said hot diarrhea. Yeah, they're pouring shit on people's face, and people are getting kidnapped and mugged, and they're like, oh, what if we just took people's guns away and just burned half our state down and shut the power off? Oh, Donald Trump. Oh, Donald Trump. Our state's burning and our air's disgusting. Anomaly can't even breathe, so he flies out. Oh, Donald Trump. Oh, homelessness. Oh, syringes everywhere. Donald Trump. Shut up, guys. Tired of their crap. Oh, Donald Trump. Why are you shutting off power for a decade? Why don't you talk about that, Kimmel? Why don't you talk about that, Fallon? Jimmy Fallon. Hey, guys, I'm a pussy. I'll do whatever they write. Please don't take away my show. I need alcohol. Shut up, Fallon. I used to like you. Seth Meyers. Oh, well, today is Ukraine collusion for Russian collusion. Shut up. Tired of their crap. Oh, we have 7 obnoxious women screaming at the top of their lungs and Meghan McCain, who pretends to be a Republican. My father was the last good thing about the Republican Party, and it's all gone. No, it's not. I'm Whoopi Goldberg. Your name isn't even Goldberg. You lied to get in. You lied to get more Jewish friends. That's fine. I get it. Me, I'm a different breed. I don't have to pretend to be Jewish to have Jewish friends. I got Orthodox Jewish friends. I got atheist Jewish friends. I got liberal Jewish friends. I got conservative Jewish friends. I don't even have to change my name to Goldberg to do it, but do you and keep talking about Trump. We get it. Someone said co-host Anna Kasparian is Armenian. Her family escaped from the genocide. God bless Anna Kasparian's family. That's all we'll say. We got hundreds, if not thousands of supporters from Israel here, and I don't even have to change my name to Goldberg. They don't even care. I actually got invited to Israel recently. Didn't even have to change my name or lie. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Blue Scorpio said, if the Democrats succeed with their open lies, gaining power, where does this end? This should terrify people. Yeah, but I would say fear is never the answer. Fear, life is tough. Sometimes things happen, sometimes things don't. Don't be scared, just be prepared, and in general, sometimes it's interesting to switch it up. Change is scary. Sometimes change is fun. Sometimes change is necessary. So I wouldn't say be scared, but be prepared, be ready, be, honest, but don't be afraid. Fear is the energy tool of the devil. They feed on your fear. They like to scare you so they can suck up your fear. Someone said, could we talk about the demonic look in Schiff's eyes? I mean, yes. Someone said Trump was on Fox today signing new requirements for medical transparency. Awesome. Yeah, Trump is awesome. I just wish people we didn't have to talk about it. And then liberals are like, why do we have to talk about Trump all the time? I'm sick of it. You don't have to do that. Stop listening to Seth Meyers and Jimmy Kimmel. No one told you to talk about Trump all the time. We didn't talk about Obama all the time. And if you're going to talk about Trump, tell the truth. There's some things that Trump is doing that is a little weird sometimes, but you never talk about it. You never actually target the things that Trump is doing that are questionable. You just make up shit and then allow him. It's like if there's one criminal, I'm not saying Trump's a criminal. I'm just using an example. If there's one criminal and then you start calling a whole room of 1,000, it's there. Now no one knows where to find it. You get what I'm saying? You guys are helping Trump. It's almost like a setup. Thank you, Bennett. God bless you, my man. Someone said we don't need cry rooms. I need a room to cry in sometimes. Leave me alone. I need a safe space. I need a safe space like the campus conservatives that go around the country to tell you that they don't want safe spaces. I'm here on your college campus to tell you I'm against political correctness, false label. I think I'm still on Facebook, but I literally, they're just kicking off YouTube now. Okay, are we back on YouTube? Sorry, guys. I think my joke was too hilarious. They tried to kick me off. Someone said, do you think the earth is stationary? I mean, I'm not going to tell you what I think. I'll just tell you this. What do you think that do you think the earth is spinning at like 66,666 miles and it's just like everything's spinning and we're spinning on an axis and it's oblate and everything's there, but we've never gone? It sounds like just what somebody that just is like, you know, neurotic just came up with. Sounds like a neurotic lie, but you know, I'm no master of space. Ask Bill Nye. Ask Shill Nye, the Democratic Party spy guy, or Neil deGrasse Fed Bison Tyson. He'll tell you he's been eating grass-fed bison for decades now, so he's more qualified to tell you. Someone said, is the Epstein case still, what does it say? Still ongoing? Probably not. They probably just pretended like it never happened. That ABC thing is a bombshell, though. The fact that, you know, they should be really talking about that, like Trump and stuff. Like, what? What did she just say? What did she just say? You know? Amelie, can you go a little more in depth with the Charlie Kirk situation? All right. So I'll talk about it real briefly because I've already talked about 2 live streams. So, you know, TPUSA has been doing a culture war, you know, campus thing where they go around and talk to people and then ask questions, and people ask questions at the end. And Ben Shapiro does his usual, you know, college campus thing. So there's been a dissident right wing, what some would call further right wing, farther right, or more Christian, more conservatives have been going to their event and in many cases outnumbering the amount of supporters he has. Not all the time, but sometimes. And they've been asking questions, very tough questions that liberals don't want to answer, and I guess conservatives don't want to answer. Questions about demographic. I'll give you an example. This one really annoyed me because I've always complimented Charlie. I'm not a hater. I see the value. They're on campus. They're teaching kids how to be conservative. I thought what he was doing was awesome. You know, I'm like, you know, him and Shapiro are really crushing it. But someone asked a question, said, Charlie, you constantly talk about Black unemployment. You constantly talk about Hispanic unemployment. He's like, will you talk about white unemployment since like 90% of people who vote for Trump are white? That was his question. It's an edgy question only because our society is so pussy that it even matters. Like, who even cares about, you know, if you talk about Black and Hispanic, why are you not allowed to talk about white? That was basically his point. And he was like, since a majority of Trump's voter base is that, how come you never talk about it? And Charlie's like, you're a white supremacist. Do you know this white supremacist group? He's like, how dare you try to identify as white? So it's like, they're very corny. I don't know what to say. It's like they play identity politics for Blacks and Hispanics, but they don't even do it authentically. Like, it's like, no, you know, it's like very like forced. And then some white kid asks about white demographics and he freaks out and calls them alt-right white supremacists. And then Ben Shapiro does a whole speech about the alt-right. So it's basically a little, you know, movement in the conservative thing where you have the Charlie Kirks and the Ben Shapiros. They don't want to talk about certain things, and other kids do. And then they try to call them all sorts of names that'll get them censored. And the craziest part about it, and we'll move on, I've already talked about it, is Charlie Kirk actually changed his immigration stance because of the kids. So as all the Blaze TV and all these establishment, new age, right-wing medias are calling these kids white supremacists, they're actually influencing them to change their stance. Charlie's old stance on immigration was we should staple a green card to every diploma. And then the kids asked him questions. They pressured him. They challenged him. And he caught, like, they're all smearing these kids. And then the next day he's like, I changed my mind on immigration. So I see no problem with it. I don't believe in safe spaces. I don't believe in political correctness. I don't believe in being afraid of race, identity, demographic talk. If you're not racist, there's nothing to be scared of. If you're not a hater, like, I'm not afraid of that conversation because I'm not racist. But they want to play identity politics with minorities and ignore, white people, and then act like they're conservative. You don't have to identify white, but if your whole movement is like, we're against identity politics, but everything's black, everything's Hispanic, but you're not allowed to do it, they're creating a movement of more conservative kids who are more Christian, who are fighting back and who think that they're actually establishment. And I want to remind people, because people think I just hate on Ben Shapiro like I'm a big hater. Ben Shapiro published basically a blacklist right before the last election. And I'm not trying to hold previous things against people. We all made mistakes. But they said, who do you think is alt-right and alt-right friendly? Keep in mind, alt-right means, super far right. Alt-right means like white identitarian. A lot of them are very, very critical and hateful of Israel and Judaism and stuff. So alt-right's a big label to throw on somebody. It can get you banned, and stuff. Ben Shapiro called Ron Paul alt-right. Ron Paul, who's probably one of the nicest guys ever, he called Donald Trump alt-right. Donald Trump's not alt-right. He's super pro-Israel. So it doesn't even make sense. He called Mike Cernovich alt-right. He called Breitbart alt-right. He called Alex Jones alt-right, and it's not even true. So this is what I'm saying. People are allowed to question me. People should question me. People should question Charlie Kirk. People should question Ben Shapiro. And their response should not be, you're an alt-right white supremacist for questioning me about race or demographics. Their response should be honest. They should give an honest answer about the question, not smear these kids because they're not smart enough or honest enough or, non-politically correct enough to answer. So people have been getting real tired of their little charades because their whole spiel is like, I'm against censorship. I'm against political correctness. I'm against safe spaces, but they're like running away from question and answers. They're getting owned and booed off their own events, rightfully so, because they're not really answering the questions. And, I don't mind that they disagree with me, but they want to smear everybody as like a supremacist. And it really makes you think what's going on. I want to remind people too, before we move on, the Koch brothers for decades were the Republican, libertarian, conservative donors who were boosting the Republican Party. Donald Trump starts enforcing immigration like every president does. All of a sudden, the Koch brothers are funding Democrats. All of a sudden, the Koch brothers don't like Donald Trump anymore. So we've been lied to for decades. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason that, people can't question Charlie Kirk and Shapiro, because the more you question them about valid things like medical freedom, I think Ben Shapiro's pro government injected vaccines, which is a little weird because you don't have to be anti-vax to know that the government should not be mandating, what your kids should and shouldn't take, especially when they're boosting medicine up more and more and more, especially when medicine companies in this country, Bayer, Monsanto, look into their history. I mean, Ben Shapiro should know it goes back to the Holocaust, and, Bayer was involved with killing people in the Holocaust. So maybe I don't want them, dictating what goes into my body. I don't trust them, and neither should Ben Shapiro. Same with, Merck and all these other companies. I mean, there's medicine companies in the United States that got caught selling AIDS and HIV pills to South Africa when they knew that they contained AIDS and HIV. So why in the world would they be pro-vaccination when, these companies have a bad record? All I'm trying to say is they're allowed to be questioned. And when they get questioned, they start smearing everybody who questions me is a white supremacist and I'm the true right-wing conservative. They're looking like the Koch brothers. And I'm not saying they're fake, but it's like, I am not impressed with the fact they're smearing everyone as alt-right. And the reason I speak up about it is not because I'm jealous or normally you go on college campuses. Exactly. If you want to do better than them, you got to do it yourself. I've always said that. I'm not hating on them. But if you're the big boys on the right-wing media and you're smearing everybody who's more honest and accurate than you, then you're not real. What are you conserving? You're not conserving free speech. They've already sold it out to Israel and Judaism under that fake guise, even though plenty of Jewish people and Israelis don't even agree with them. They sold it out in Florida. They're constantly undermining the First and Second Amendment. People like Dan Crenshaw, well, you're using it as a cloak. The First Amendment's not a cloak. The First Amendment's the First Amendment. That's what a liberal would say. Oh, you're like, Anomaly, why are you talking about that? You're racist. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not racist. They're like, oh, you're using the First Amendment as a cloak. The First Amendment's not a cloak. That's not what it is. So the fact that Shapiro, Crenshaw, and Charlie Kirk are acting like that now is very, very suspicious. And at bare minimum, it deserves a little bit of resistance, because I'm not here to follow Charlie Kirk or Ben Shapiro, just like I'm not here to follow Donald Trump. If Donald Trump gives up the First Amendment, guess what? I like the First Amendment more than I like Donald Trump. I'm not giving up my free speech because Donald Trump says so. And I'm certainly not doing it because Shapiro, Crenshaw, and Kirk said so. And there's a way to have a debate. There's a way to counter these kids. You know, a lot of these kids are asking questions at their events. A lot of them are angry. A lot of them are hateful. To be honest, in my opinion, a lot of the people asking the questions are not very well prepared. Even, Nick Fuentes on his stream says so. He says that they're not even ready half the time. I have no problem with their questions. I don't agree with them sometimes, but I'm not going to smear them as supremacists for asking legitimate questions. Sometimes their questions are legit. Sometimes they're not, but just answer the damn question. He's like, well, white people don't like. The dude said like a majority of Trump's voting base was white. That's just a fact. It doesn't mean anything, but it's a fact. Charlie Kirk's like, well, you think white people vote for Trump? I mean, Maine is a white state and they vote Democrat. It's like, Charlie, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? We know, yeah, Maine vote. There's white states that vote Democrat, but a majority of his vote, you talk about black and Hispanic all the time. One person asked you to talk about Trump's white voting base, and you freaked out and said that white people don't vote for Trump because Maine voted Dem. It's like these kids are retards, and they're not First Amendment. They're not even, honest or accurate about anything. It's like people are tired of them, and so am I. I don't mind that they disagree with me on foreign policy. But they're not even pro free speech. And when I disagree with Charlie Kirk or Ben Shapiro, I'm not going to call them alt-right or far-right or white supremacists. That's going to get them banned off social media. They already get falsely labeled that. So why would they do that to other conservatives? You get what I'm saying? When we have tough racial conversations here, we don't call people supremacists. I actually like people that are like unabashedly honest, whether they're black, whether they're Muslim, whether they're Jewish, whether they're Christian. I'd rather know what someone actually thinks or feels rather than having to play this PC game. Political correctness, whether it comes from the conservatives or the liberals, it does more damage than people having conversations do. Everybody's restrained, everybody's constricted, and what they act like is normal and status quo isn't really normal and status quo. If you respect black people, Jewish people, Hispanic people, let them have a conversation and speak for themselves. We don't need to be like gatekept as like, I control the black conversation on the conservative party. It's like, no, you don't. The Hoteps don't agree with you. They're not afraid of this stuff. So I started talking about it once I realized that they don't even stand up for the First Amendment, and they're quick to turn on other people and silence and censor and blacklist. And trust me, the blacklisting is very real. They want to label me that way. They're already doing it behind closed doors. Don't talk to Anomaly. He's alt-right. Anomaly's far-right. I'm literally less mean than they are. I'm the least mean person. I'm the least hateful person. Literally half my audience is Hispanic. Like, nobody has a problem with me that's other races, but they can't intellectually debate me. So they're like, don't interview Anomaly. Don't talk to him. Why? Because I actually can entertain college campuses, whether it be with music or speeches. I listen to them. I'm sleeping half the time. It's so boring. You're getting booed by conservatives. You're not winning a culture war. You're putting college kids to sleep and making them vote Democrat. It's so goddamn boring. And the words to really drive it home, and we'll take a new question. The words racist, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, xenophobic, sexist, what do they even mean? Okay, let's start with Islamophobic. If you dislike Islam or criticize Islam, are you Islamophobic? Are you afraid of Islam? Probably not. So why would they use that word? Are you hateful of them, or do you have an opinion about Islamic culture and American culture or Jewish culture and how they intertwine? There's no problem with talking about that. They've used the word Islamophobic as a smear campaign to silence free speech. Same with racist. What does racist mean? Now Charlie Kirk says racist is talking about Trump's white demographic. Then is him talking about Trump's black demographic racist? Like, you're only allowed to talk about it in a certain way. This is all anti-free speech bullshit. There's no anti-Semitic. What does it mean to Ron DeSantis in Florida, it means literally everything. So now you can't say anything. To The Guardian, they called Yair Netanyahu's son, anti-Semitic. So the leader of Israel's son is anti-Semitic. How could the most Jewish person in Israel be anti-Semitic? He's not. They're lying because they don't like Netanyahu's son. Fuck these words. I'm tired. Anybody who Ben Shapiro, everybody who disagrees with me is alt-right. Ben, most of your own ethnicity doesn't even like you in America. Literally, like 75 to 80% Jewish people vote Democrat, so they don't even like you. So are they anti-Semitic? Is everybody anti-Semitic because they don't like your foreign policy? These people are such liars. And those words just need to disappear. Like anybody who calls someone alt-right or anti-Semitic or racist or sexist, they're just ruining. Like, why don't you hone in on their argument? What you said is not right about this race because this is the truth about this race, and what you said is wrong. That explains it. It's not like you're racist. Oh, see, guys, I won. I just called him racist, so I'm gonna leave the college campus now. I just won. That's not winning a debate. You have to be like, talk about demographics, talk about race, stand up for your favorite race, be like, I don't like but don't just call someone racist. It's not a thing. Like, and then what does that mean? Well, if you think that, you're a racist. Everyone's like, I'm conservative. Yay, we're winning the culture war. No, you're not. There's going to be some tough conversations about demographic and race. And you talk about race all the time. So it's like you define what you could say. If I'm, Italian, I am part Italian, and I say you're only allowed to compliment Italians. If you have any criticism of Italians, it's anti-Italian. And if you're Italian and you love yourself, you're an Italian supremacist. Fuck that shit. Who gets to decide what people are? They win through branding. Everything they do is through branding. So they brand something and everyone goes along with the brand. And then the right wing bows down to the brand, even though they're getting branded that. Everyone just needs to shut the fuck up. I don't get to decide what you say about Italians. I don't get to decide what you say about white. I don't get what you decide to say about black. I don't get to decide what you say about Jewish. I don't get to decide what you say about Islam. And if I want to oppose what you're saying, I have to make a valid argument. I can't just throw a label on you and be like, you're only allowed to talk about Islam in one way. You're only allowed to talk about Jewish in one way. You're only allowed to compliment them and be like, look, I don't like free speech anymore because I love them so much. You're not even impressing Jewish people. Most of them vote Democrat. So you're not even impressing 80% of the demographic you're bending over for. It's ridiculous. Someone said there are no other rights without the Second Amendment. That's what they say. Someone said, kid ears in the room. I need headphones. I'm sorry. Sorry for this stream, kids. Someone said, what do you think about the Trump being bailed out by the Rothschilds? I didn't hear anything about it, but they have a lot of power, so I wouldn't be surprised. Trump is very, very pro-Israel, and Israel was given to the Rothschilds in like the 1900s by the Balfour Declaration by Britain. So if Trump is pro-Israel, in a sense, the Rothschilds can't dislike him that much. That's who got Israel in the 1900s. Look up the Wikipedia. So I wouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, I haven't read anything about it. Someone said, I've never heard you cuss. I'm just letting loose today. I'm having fun. I'm tired of this impeachment and fake conservatives who are selling out the free speech. While I'm free to speak, I might as well say words people don't want me to say. I'm feeling that way today. Sorry. Someone said, what is race? It's all just nonsense. As far as like the term white, black, like they make up these I never thought, oh, I'm white. Like I was like, I'm Italian, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Polish, I'm American, I'm Czechoslovakian, but no one really cared. It wasn't like, ooh, they brand things certain ways. So you're best to just not use the brand. Like some people embrace it. I say just avoid it. Like I'm not that. Who said I'm that? I'm not even white. I'm like half black, half Jewish. I'm like Whoopi Goldberg. I'll just make shit up. I'm like Rachel Dolezal. I'm not even, I'm 0% white. I'm half Jewish and half black. Someone said, you thirsty today? No, my throat's a little sore. Someone said, stay safe. I'm blessed. You should be too. Someone said you can't get Ben out of your mouth. I mean, I don't know. I don't like the fact that he labeled Ron Paul, Donald Trump, Breitbart News, Mike Cernovich, and Alex Jones as alt-right and alt-right friendly. Ben's whole life is I always get falsely labeled and people are trying to censor me, and then he tries to censor other people. And his foreign policy is trash. He gets Christians killed in Syria and then somehow convinces Christians that he's like super pro-Christian. Judeo-Christian values, we're totally the same. We're like, are we? Ben, what do you think about Jesus? Jesus, I don't want to talk about it. We get it, bro. Someone said British came up. Let's see. Labels are a hoax. Just watch their branding. Anybody who plays along with that branding is no longer a friend of mine. They've already proven to me they'll censor, sell out the First Amendment. At that, if I don't have free speech, I don't have anything. So while I have free speech, I'm saying what I want to say, because one day we won't have it. So someone said everybody seems to have an opinion about politics, and that's exactly why it's so powerful. Everyone has an opinion, but not everyone's mattered. Let's see. Are you going to vote straight Republican in 2020? Someone said, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but I don't see anything else happening. It depends what state I'm in and who's running. But like in California, I was looking at the Republican attorney general or whoever, and he was just so trash. It was just like, you don't even want to vote for him. He's like, oh, they're like, why are you running? He's like, well, I'm a lawyer and my friends told me I should run. It's like, wow, very passionate speech, bro. No, I'm fine. My throat's just a little sore. I mean, switching temperatures usually does that to me, and talking a lot. Someone said when they start killing Christians, then the Christians will wake up and it'll be too late. They're already killing Christians. I mean, that's why I always talk about Syria, because nobody on the right who talks about Syria ever talks about it accurately. They're like, we should regime change Syria because Islam is bad. It's like Syria is not even the most Islamic country in the Middle East. Syria had 2 million Christians. Now there's 1 million Christians. Where did they all go? I'll give you a hint. They're not in Syria. Some of them died. Some of them went somewhere else. So Christians are already getting killed. They're the most persecuted religion on the planet. So it's already happening. It's just when you get a leader who's not Christian, like Ben Shapiro, who doesn't care, doesn't like Christians, and says, guys, I'm going to help. I'm Judeo-Christian. Let's kill the leader of Syria. Ben never tells you that Syria has the most Christians in the Middle East, or it used to, but they're all gone now because of Ben Shapiro's foreign policy. So, I mean, it's not a good look for Christians. And I don't care. You can be Christian and support a Jewish person, or be Muslim and support a, Christian. I'm not saying you have to stay within your religion lines. It's one love. But when your Jewish Republican leader doesn't even tell you that the country that you're trying to overturn, he's like, oh, I'm so mad at Trump. Trump should try to kill Bashar. Trump should try to overthrow the Syrian government. Ben wrote a bunch of pieces. He should try attack the Syrian army. Why, Ben? The Syrian army protects Christians, and they're one of the only countries in the Middle East that does that. So why would we fight them, Ben? Who's that for? Is it for Christians? No. Is it for America? Obviously not. So Christians are already being killed. And I say this stuff and people are like, you're such a hater anomaly. You're just jealous. I'm not jealous. I just don't want the most Christian place in the Middle East to not turn into Libya, where there's no leader. And now everyone's getting killed by extremists. During Obama's administration, terrorist groups took over the entire region. And these people who act like they're fighting radical Islamic terrorism the most don't even tell you that US, Saudi Arabia, Israel, probably Great Britain and France and others, they fund jihadists and have admitted openly on video to funding extremist jihadist Wahhabist Islamic groups to try to fight a proxy war. So if you're funding radical Islamic terrorism, it's not going to go away. And there's a reason that Ben Shapiro smears everybody who disagrees with him as alt-right, because he doesn't want to have that debate. He wants to debate Cenk Uygur, who knows nothing. He wants to debate 17-year-old, women on college campuses who are idiots, no offense. He wants to debate other intellectual dark webbers like Dave Rubin and, what's his name? The atheist, Sam Harris, who's literally a retard. No offense, but that dude is not smart. And then he wants to act like, oh, I'm always down for a debate, but everybody who disagrees. Why do you think he calls Alex Jones alt-right? Alt-right means you're a white identitarian who are very against Israel and Jewish people in many senses. Alex Jones loves Israel. Alex Jones is not even remotely, calling out Jewish people at all. He has nothing to do with the alt-right. Why do you think Ben Shapiro calls him alt-right? Why do you notice a pattern? Let's see. Alex Jones against foreign intervention, against regime change. Ron Paul calls out Israel against foreign intervention, against regime change. Donald Trump loves Israel, but is against foreign intervention and regime change. Mike Cernovich talks about that shit too. Breitbart, do you notice a pattern? Ben Shapiro wants to smear and silence and censor every single conservative who doesn't agree with his fake, shitty foreign policy, so he can never tell you and never have a debate and never host people who tell you that regime change in Syria was never a good idea to begin with. And the fact that he supported it, it doesn't even know that our taxpayer, he never talks about our taxpayer dollars going to funding radical Wahhabists. Someone said, I'd like to see Shapiro debate Joe Rogan. He's talked to Joe Rogan, but that's another nonsensical debate. And Joe Rogan's never going to call Ben Shapiro out on that stuff. But there's no debate there. Someone said Tucker is great. That's another thing. People think I'm hating. Watch Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson called out Charlie Kirk twice because Charlie Kirk, he's calling everybody white supremacist. Charlie Kirk's like, everybody who disagrees with me is a white supremacist. Oh, I'm such a good Trump supporter. And then Tucker Carlson called him out. Tucker Carlson literally, sub-dissed him on Fox and was like, oh, there's a video of Charlie Kirk saying, America's not about the Rocky Mountains. America's not about the people here. It's about the ideas. We could take this idea to Israel or somewhere else and it'd still be America. The fuck is he talking about? So Tucker Carlson on TV was like, oh yeah, America's just about an idea. He shit on Charlie Kirk one time, and then he did a whole thing about H-1B visas and how it's a total scam. And then Charlie Kirk changes his opinion and it's like, oh, I was wrong about that. I'm sorry. Tucker Carlson doesn't agree with these dudes either. Tucker Carlson calls out Ben Shapiro all the time. So if you like Tucker, he just doesn't name them, but he calls out their shitty foreign policy all the time. Tucker's awesome. So I'm not the only one who notices. Tucker just works for Fox News and crushes. Dude, I watched a Tucker segment the other day about Chris Cuomo and schools. Dude, Tucker's a monster, man. He's by far the best person on the television. Someone said, I don't see that with Shapiro or Kirk. I must have missed it. I'm not trying to tell you who to and not to like, but you'll never hear it because they don't allow you to hear it. And when somebody brings what I'm trying to say to their events, they call them white supremacist alt-righters and try to ruin their lives. And behind closed doors say, don't talk to them. Don't take pictures with them. They're snakes. You don't see it because they don't allow you to see it. They don't want you to see it. They'll smear you and silence you and censor you and deplatform you and sell out your free speech just as quick as the left wing. Just they'll rebrand it. Oh, culture war. What about Waters? I don't watch Fox News enough. I just really like Tucker Carlson, but Jesse Waters, he seems like a nice guy. I don't watch enough to really know. Someone said Lou Dobbs is a legend. Yeah, I don't watch Fox enough to know. I'm not a big hater. Someone said, what do you think about Tulsi Gabbard being stabbed politically in the back by the left wing? Great question. All right, so this is something a lot of Republicans and conservatives don't understand either. They always say, how dare you compliment Tulsi Gabbard because she's a socialist and a sneaky snake. Truth is, I do think she's a little sneaky, and she's absolutely, I don't trust her anymore, and she is pretty far left with her policies. But the reason the Democratic Party establishment doesn't like her is because she calls out what I'm calling out right here. The United States taxpayer has been funding radical Islamic terrorism for decades. So you can't fight jihadist terrorists. She's what's it called? What's her religion? She's a Hindu. Hindus know very well Muslim devastation. Hindus and Muslims don't get along very well in India. I'm sure some do, but they have a bigger beef than we've even seen here in the Western world. So she knows very well about radical Islamic terrorism, and Tulsi Gabbard's not a fan of it. But she knows that they're funding it. So she calls out the neocons. She calls out Ben Shapiro, and she calls them chicken hawks. And Ben Shapiro's like, people call me a chicken hawk, but that's anti-Semitic. It's like, no, Ben, your foreign policy sucks. She calls them out and says, how can you be against radical Islamic terrorism when you're funding radical Islamic terrorism? She calls out Saudi Arabia. She calls out Israel. So that's why she's not getting favor from the Democratic Party, because it's not even about liberal policies. It's about the military-industrial complex. It's about nonstop war. It's about protecting big pharma. So Tulsi Gabbard, as bad as I think her socialist policies are, she knows that the United States taxpayer has been funding terrorism, and she's called it out. That's how I learned years ago, through her, Ron Paul, who, of course, you notice everybody that Ben Shapiro wants to blacklist are the people talking about this stuff, guys. Ron Paul, her, Rand Paul, they're the ones who've been talking about this for a while. So that's why they hate Tulsi Gabbard. I don't fully trust her. I'm not going to vote for her. However, you can't just be like, oh, Tulsi's exactly the same. She's not exactly the same. Her domestic policy might be very similar or exactly the same, but her foreign policy is great. I know it. Steve Bannon knows it. Even Steve Bannon went on Fox News and said, Tulsi Gabbard's the type of woman you'd want in your cabinet. She totally understands foreign policy. And they don't want you to know that. You notice, where did Al-Qaeda come from? Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know. Let's go back to the 80s and 90s. Who was funding the Mujahideen? Who was working with bin Laden? It's like on record, on camera. They funded the Mujahideen to fight Russia. They've been funding these groups for decades. So Al-Qaeda gets disappeared. We go to Iraq, has nothing to do with Al-Qaeda. Most of them were from Saudi Arabia. We go to Libya, it's not even in the Middle East, it's in Africa. So they've been lying to us so much. And people like, Shapiro and others, that's why I talk about them so much. They're like the illusion of conservatism. They're just like, well, I'll tell you about one thing, but I'll do the exact opposite of what I'm saying, and you'll buy my bed sheets. It's like Tulsi is hated by the left-wing establishment because the left-wing establishment is big war, big agenda, big world takeover media. And as crappy as Tulsi Gabbard's domestic policies are, her foreign policy is pretty great. Much, much better than most people's. I don't agree with everything she says, but she's much more honest and much more accurate about foreign affairs than everyone else. And they hate that. They don't want that. So she's not welcome. Someone said, I like Tulsi, but I wouldn't vote for her in this election. I might never vote for her, but I said I want her to be in Congress, and people freaked out. Why do you want her to be in Congress? She's far left. Everyone doesn't need to be right-wing in Congress. As long as she goes for paper ballots, she wants to have fair elections. She wants us to stop funding terrorists. That's good enough for me. She could be a socialist. That's fine. Just get more Republicans than Democrats, and we'll be fine. Someone said Trump Gabbard 2020. That would be awesome, but Trump at the helm and she tried out for Trump's cabinet. I don't think she got picked, but she would be a good advisor for foreign policy. Someone said she's not far left. I mean, call it what you want. Yeah, you could use a different label, but her domestic policy, it's a lot of big government stuff. I don't even know if she believes it, though. She might just be playing the game to win on the Democratic side. Years ago, she was against the same-sex marriage federal legalization. They always bring that up. She wasn't against it, but she understood that the country, every state should decide. It shouldn't be a federal mandate, and they give her crap for that. I think she just kind of goes which way the wind blows on domestic policies. She might not even believe it. So I don't know what she believes, but her domestic policy is like very similar to Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren on a lot of stuff. So domestically, she's definitely progressive, you can call it, but foreign, I like her so much more than everyone. Someone said Rush Limbaugh, don't know much about. All right, I'm going to leave in like 5 minutes so I don't screw my voice up. Someone said Tulsi Gabbard is NWO, funded by Podesta. Maybe, but I haven't seen evidence for that. Someone said Tulsi was calling Assange a Russian asset. Like I said, she's sneaky, but I'm not telling you to vote for her. Let me see. Someone said Al Qaeda changed name to Syrian Democratic Forces, the people Trump is giving Syrian oil to now. Organizations changed their names, thinking people won't know. That's what Tricky Vicky said. I haven't looked into the name stuff to that extent, but you're right. That's definitely what they do. They just like rebrand. It's branding. You could be the hero, but if your name is the devil, people think you're the devil. So I mean, even with the white helmets, not a lot of people talk about that, but the white helmets were like this humanitarian group in Syria, but a lot of people caught them, doing sneaky stuff. So, they probably were never who they said they were anyway. Someone said, I think her beef with Hillary is staged. Probably. Could be. I'm not here to tell you it's not. I'm just telling you what value she has. People get mad at me, but it's like I look for value. You know what I'm saying? If she's doing something that's right, I'm gonna highlight it. I want people to know that because she's helped a lot with that. What her intentions are, I can't tell you, but the fact that she was earlier than a lot of people on that's a big deal in my opinion. Someone said, do you think the Ukraine impeachment is to scare off Biden investigations? I can't tell you why they're doing it. It's a distraction. Probably. I mean, a lot of these are like wasting time, stopping him from looking into them, making it so they have a giant shield. And now if they do it, now if Trump says something, he's attacking a witness. You know what I'm saying? He's doing this, he's doing that. So it's like they make a whole narrative and they make a whole investigation. So now if you do the right thing, they can brand you as a witness tamperer. This is of course, that's all they're doing. Someone said Epstein didn't kill himself. I mean, yeah, probably. Someone said, what about the UN forces in America? I don't trust the UN at all. The UN is not to be trusted. UN, I'm not a fan of. I don't know why. Yeah, they're in Utah or something. Very weird. Very weird. All right. Do you like Andrew Yang? Not really, no. I think he's funny and like relatable on Twitter, but I don't like his ideas. I don't like his I don't think he says things that are true and then or he'll say things that aren't really happening and then he'll have a solution for the thing that's not even happening. And then sometimes he'll be like, how people are like, how are you going to get all that money to do $1,000 a month? He's like, well, we'll get Amazon to pay the taxes. It's like, do the math. I'm not saying he should get Amazon to get the taxes. It would be nice if everyone had a base salary or something, but that's not going to pay for it. It reminds me of like Elizabeth Warren. So it's just, I get where he's coming from. We need a plan if automation takes over and technology takes over, but Andrew Yang, I don't like. I don't think he has the real answers. And, it's debatable at that point if something did happen to that extent, is giving $1,000 a month going to quell that storm? I don't really buy anything he's selling, but I think he has a fun Twitter. Someone said Tulsi over Yang. It depends what you mean by over. They both have value. Tulsi's value is, she talks about foreign policy better than a lot of people. Andrew Yang's value, he talks about circumcision a lot. That's something, edgy and controversial that Andrew Yang brings up that no one brings up. Yang seems pretty reasonable, like a nice guy. I don't want either of them. To me, they're equally, I wouldn't want either of them in office personally. I don't have a preference as far as who I like, but just because I compliment someone doesn't mean I want them in office, So someone said, you like Warren? No, not at all. I like Yang and Gabbard out of everybody, but it's like, do I want them to be president? No, personally, not me. Someone said petrodollars versus China. I mean, that's the battle of the century right now. I don't know. Hopefully we win so we don't become slaves to China. I think we'll be fine. Someone said travel to Israel. I don't know. I got invited. but I don't think I want to go. Maybe one day I'll go. I'm sure I'll travel the world, but I don't. Just not right now. All right, let's see. Did Tootsie Rolls get their ideas from turds? Said Hand of Seeds. I don't know, Hand of Seeds. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Someone said get some rest. All right, yeah, I'll stop because I gotta perform tonight as well. So I'm gonna roll out. Thank you guys for being here. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. And God bless the world. Hopefully you enjoyed that. It's a little longer today, but I had fun. I thought it was a good time. And yeah, I'll do more videos soon. Sorry, I've been on the run, just doing certain stuff and also just getting away from the air in California, man. It's bad in Los Angeles. It's supposed to rain next week. And I hope it does and it gets better because the air was worse than I'd seen it and it just kept getting worse. I was like, I need to get out of here. I can't breathe. So I've been a little slower on my videos, but I have a pretty funny one coming up. I have my laptop I have a regular desktop and a laptop, but my laptop is it's so much harder to use and so much slower. And I've been jet lagged too, but it's all good. I'll be back. And thank you guys for the love. And we out here. Someone said cupcakes in the oven. Are you talking about me or are you talking to yourself? Either way, I'll take a cupcake, I guess. All right. Have a good one, guys.